Early in the morning, Gunung Leuser National Park is immersed in a thick, gloomy fog. The space is hazy like a white silk covering the vast Sumatran forest. The first weak sunlight penetrates through the towering leaves, drawing shimmering silver streaks on each leaf still wet with night dew. The chirping of forest birds echoes from many directions, blending with the sound of insects, creating a vibrant chorus on the still moist red soil. Ranger Andy Susanto, an experienced conservation officer, checks the radio, adjusts the antenna, and compares the location on the GPS map before setting off. Dr. Maria Rodriguez, a veterinarian from Spain, carefully tightens the strap of her goggles and rearranges the medical suitcase full of tools. After preparing, the two climb into the forest green Jeep, a specialized vehicle for dangerous patrols. The engine started, the car slowly rolled, vibrating gently with each pothole on the winding trail. The atmosphere in the car was silent, only the sound of the engine mixed with the rustling of the forest leaves, both focused on listening to the sounds of nature. Suddenly, Andy stopped, stopping the car in the middle of the narrow road, his eyes flashed with alertness. He raised his hand to signal Maria to be absolutely quiet, his ears strained as if catching a strange sound. Sure enough, from deep within the dense canopy, a weak, trembling cry rang out, like the cry of a wounded creature. Maria immediately raised the binoculars to her eyes, slowly panning to determine the exact source of that strange sound. Through the tangled vines, she discovered a small figure on the low tree canopy near the trail. It was a baby orangutan, lying motionless, its whole body curled up, shivering from the damp cold of the early morning. A faint, mournful cry rang out intermittently, sounding like a desperate cry for help. One of its small arms was caught in a piece of net left over from illegal hunting. The net tightened, causing the arm to swell and turn red, its fur sticky with mud and tree sap. Its round black eyes shone with pain mixed with fear, as if it no longer believed anything. Andy took a small breath, then carefully took the first aid kit from the back of the car. Maria also quickly prepared a bottle of antiseptic solution, cotton balls, and sterile bandages. They briefly exchanged glances and a few whispers, deciding on a safe approach. The important thing was to help it escape the net without causing it to panic. Andy picked up a long bamboo branch, skillfully pulling back the layers of dense vines in front of it. The small path gradually opened, allowing Maria to approach the trembling creature. She put on sterile gloves and walked slowly and quietly to avoid more fear. When she got closer, Maria gently touched the orangutan's head with her hand, speaking in a warm, soothing voice. The screaming suddenly stopped. The orangutan was surprised. Its eyes looked at her with caution, but less fierce. Taking that opportunity, Maria opened the specialized pliers, carefully cutting each loop of the net around its arm. The swoosh sound when the first strand of net was cut made both of them feel somewhat relieved. Andy held the branch tightly in case the animal suddenly struggled. When the last strand of net fell, the small arm appeared with many bloody scratches. The baby orangutan curled up, squinting in pain but still not resisting. Maria quickly used a cotton ball soaked in antiseptic solution to clean the swollen wound. The animal trembled from the pain, but her gentle voice helped it stay calm. She then applied antibiotics, then carefully bandaged the arm to immobilize the joint. Every movement was neat, both professional and full of compassion. Andy took a small bottle of water, gave it sips, helping it regain some strength. When first aid was completed, they placed the orangutan in a well-ventilated rescue cage. The Jeep continued to roll, shaking every now and then, bringing the animal back to the Leuser Conservation Center. At the center, the veterinary team immediately performed a general examination on the little animal. It was placed in a recovery room. The floor was lined with fresh banana leaves to create a familiar feeling. The soft light in the room made it less afraid, lying quietly to rest. Maria meticulously recorded the wound condition, breathing rate, and initial health indicators. On the second day, the baby orangutan was more alert, able to hold on to a small wooden branch placed in the chamber. It looked around to observe the new environment, its eyes gradually less tense. Maria measured the temperature and heart rate, recording that the indicators were all stable, and fortunately stable. Andy picked many types of forest leaves, put them in for it to try eating. At first, it was hesitant, but then it slowly began to nibble on the young leaves. In the following days, Maria patiently changed the bandage, closely monitoring the progress of the wound. Day by day, its arm gradually dried up, the swelling lessened, and its skin color returned to its natural state. By the 5th day, the baby orangutan was able to climb up to a higher wooden bar in the chamber. It also made a small, excited cry, signaling its recovery. Maria smiled emotionally as she watched it play with soft toys. That showed that both its health and mentality had improved. The conservation team held a meeting to discuss a plan to release it back into the forest. They chose an area of primordial forest far from the trails with few human footprints. On the morning of the release, the sky was clear, the sun was gentle, and there was not a drop of rain. Maria filled the small container with leaves and soft blankets and placed the orangutan inside. The jeep set off, taking it back to the area where it was originally trapped. They stopped under a large old oil tree with green foliage covering the sky. Maria opened the lid of the container. The orangutan hesitantly stepped out, its eyes looking around warily. With Andy's soft call, it slowly walked towards a nearby low branch. Its small hands clung to the rough bark, climbing up little by little. Once on a sturdy branch, it stopped, turned its head to look at its two benefactors. At that moment, the afternoon sunlight slanted through the leaves, making its reddish-brown fur shine brightly. Andy raised his hand to wave, his eyes shining with undescribable joy and pride. Maria stood still, her heart filled with emotion. The two stepped back, watching until the small figure disappeared into the forest. On the way back, they shared their feelings, agreeing that their gentle approach and respect for nature had brought success. A week later, the surveillance camera recorded the image of the healthy orangutan in the forest, strongly inspiring both the conservation team and nature lovers.